Hello and welcome to Fully Charged News. I'm really excited about this because I haven't been to Frankfurt, but there has been so much news coming out of Frankfurt. But I do know someone who has been. Please welcome on to Fully Charged News of Mr. Jonny Smith.
Hi, how are you doing? I have freshly got back from the Frankfurt Motor Show. Well, what is known in full as the Frankfurt International Automobile Ausstellung.
Ausstellung. That's Automobile Ausstellung.
Yeah, or IAA for short.
The IAA.
Yeah.
So there has been, I've been deliberately not looking for news about it because I knew I was meeting you today.
Yeah.
But it's still leaked in. When I think about the times, we've even talked about it, but even the first time I went, which was probably 8 years ago to Frankfurt, and there was like some plug-in hybrids. You know, that was really exciting.
It was big news.
And there was a Tesla, and that was sort of it.
And most of
Just
the cars...
amazing amount of news this time.
Well, it's a massive show, unnecessarily large, some would argue, 12 halls, like 400,000 square metres of show space. I mean, it's lunacy. But there were some manufacturers that weren't here this year. Tesla, Nissan, Fiat.
Nissan not there at all?
No.
Wow.
Peugeot, no.
Wow.
Citroën, no. Volvo, no. Ford, a little bit.
Right.
But making big noises about going electric, but not really.
Going electric with petrol engines, perfectly legitimate.
I got into a little bit of hot water on social media about the Ford going electric, but not yet really. Ford, look, I'm not against petrol engines. It's just that if you're going to say go electric in massive letters across shipping containers and stuff,
that's not
that
good.
doesn't mean mild hybrid, I don't think.
No.
Anyway,
let's move on.
I'm going to start this with a manufacturer that launched a very important car that isn't actually available in electric and won't be for about 5 years. Because it's the Land Rover Defender.
Yeah.
It's a car that's very close to many of our hearts. I think it looked even better in the metal than it does in the pictures.
Right.
There are 170 accessories available for this car from the launch.
Wow.
What they've done with this is they've made it available immediately as a 90, a two-door, and a four-door, the 110. You know, they've made a point out of architectural kind of exposed screw heads and stuff, but you're watching Fully Charged, so you're thinking, why do you care?
Because these are petrol, but I bet they're petrol or diesel.
Petrols, diesels. The flagship launch engine is a straight six engine with a 48-volt mild hybrid. So
there is a hybrid version now.
Yeah, it will be. It will come out, and it's an electric supercharger. They're going to say next summer, so about a year, there'll be a PHEV. I don't think you're going to see an electric Defender, an all-electric Defender for the next 4.5 years.
Right. Just why don't they do that sooner? You know what I mean? But I mean, you know, because I suppose they're going, well, we've done the I-Pace.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know,
that company, the
fact that they've done the I-Pace.
I know that you would think
you could use those motors four-wheel drive capability.
Because I have to say, I have reservations about the I-Pace in terms of its energy use, but my God, off-road, that thing was comically brilliant. I mean, it was absurd how that worked. Yeah. It was just stunning, and that shows you what you can do with variable drivetrains. You know, specifically for this sort of thing. It's actually an advantage.
Exactly. So let's go on to something that's a little bit more electric.
A bit more electric, please.
As in fully electric.
Oh Lord.
But looks like it's come from another planet. It's the Audi AI Trail.
So this is 100% electric?
This is 100% electric, a motor in each wheel.
Right.
So it's very, very quattro. Right. And I think Audi's using this as a sort of experimental off-road buggy. I suppose it's a buggy. Right. It's an exploration buggy, saying that we are quattro and maybe we're going to go further into the world of e-tron, maybe go a bit more off-roady.
Wow.
You know, and it's got this sort of helicopter-style cockpit with full... glazing.
Was it? And you saw it there. It was there.
I did get to actually see it. And the cool thing about this car is because there's a lot of madness with these cars, and you've got to take them all with a bucket load of salt. Yeah. But it had stowage for stuff in front of the driver and passenger. Right.
Because you get to from inside.
Yeah, because the steering column's sort of floating. There's no proper dash. No. There's just a wheel on a bracket.
Wow.
The steering wheel on a bracket, everything's drive-by-wire, of course. Yeah. And it's got mad, 22-inch wheels, 33-inch tyres, transverse suspension. I mean, it says you can pressurise and depressurise the tyres remotely.
As you're going.
4 electric motors producing 429 brake horsepower, £738 for your torque,
Wow.
with a WLTP apparently of 248 to 310 miles.
Wow. That's good. I like it when they do that. Now that
Yeah.
we're actually getting actual electric cars on the road,
Yeah.
I'm finding these less, because there was a time when they were quite annoying, because you'd see this amazing,
A pure flight
like
of fancy.
BMW did a beautiful electric sports car years ago.
Yeah.
Never seen
came
it,
to
you know.
nothing.
And whereas this stuff, well, at least Audi are making electric cars now,
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
can
yeah.
go off on one of these, and it's
Well,
not so annoying.
The mad thing, this doesn't have proper headlights. It uses drones. It comes with 5 drones.
Well,
It
they
does.
fly ahead of you and light the
Yeah,
road.
it says they're named the Audi Light Pathfinders, and they replace the headlights. Though the AI trail does have light sources in the A-pillars, they do play second fiddle to the 5 rotorless, like a Dyson fan, autonomous drones. I'm not on LSD. This is all real, all right? Which are equipped with LED spotlights and illuminate the path ahead.
Wow.
And they've got cameras that transmit images of the terrain ahead to the driver. Now, a lot of that is just
It's
bobbins.
useful if you're going to the
Yeah.
late night supermarket and there's a big car park.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to know where you're going.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on headlights.
But I think if you
Fleet of drones in front of you.
whenever you see a concept car like this, dissect it and go. In
That
the
could work.
future,
This bit,
you could
that
have
bit,
a
yeah.
floating steering wheel
Yeah, that
with
stuff.
no conventional dash because you don't need to, with extra storage, within wheel motors,
Yeah.
with huge articulation to go off-road. And yes, drones are becoming more and more relevant and useful, and smaller and cheaper.
And I mean, if they're charging when they're on the car, then they take off and do lighting and then come back.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. If you've got to get out and launch it with a remote, that
Quite.
might be difficult.
Well, yeah, but if you pull up outside the fish and chip shop, or within a mile of the fish and chip shop, and the drone fetches the fish and chips,
Oh, yeah.
and
That's
brings
good.
it back and drops it through the skylight. Anyway, I think we'll probably just move
Yeah.
on to more realistic
Yeah.
proposition now. A car that we all know,
Yes.
we all love. You've driven it.
It's
I
beautiful.
haven't.
It's really, really amazing car.
Yeah.
It is.
So this was at the Frankfurt show in its finished form, which is the same.
It's
really.
probably the same. I wouldn't
the
think it's much
same.
different. It looks
And
exactly
I had a look at it in grey, and it looks quite.
I
it
didn't
looks
see it grey.
quite
Right.
moody and sinister in
Right.
grey. But the most important thing that we all wanted to know is how much really is it going to be?
Yeah.
It's going to be £26,100, including the government grant, and it's going to come with 2 power choices.
Right.
134 horsepower, which is that priced car, or the 152 horsepower
Right.
car.
Because I don't know which one I drove. Now you say that, I've got a feeling it was the smaller of the 2. I don't think it was.
Yeah, I mean they're both going to be
Yeah,
peppy.
it was nippy. Yeah,
They're
but it
hot.
wasn't sort of breathtaking. But
No.
It was,
And 36 kilowatt hour battery that you knew, 136 mile range.
Right. Because that is, because I did hear that before, and I just think
136.
it just seems like you could do more with that size battery in that size car. I mean, I
Yeah.
might be wrong because the only way is to try it out. But
Yeah.
that feels like normally it's like it's got a 22 kilowatt hour battery and do 154 miles. No, it won't. This is
Yeah.
the other way around. It's
Yeah.
the first time I've seen those stats come out where I think no, it'll do more than that. It's a tiny little car, you know. I mean, it's
I think where I'm at with the Honda E is I absolutely love it.
yeah.
It's a car you buy completely with your heart. When it comes to your head, when you look at the price of the new Zoe,
Yeah.
you look at what the VW ID is going to sell for, which we're coming up to, and the Corsa and stuff like that, you think, if you just want range for your buck,
Yeah.
it's not brilliant.
It's no.
If you want a really lovely piece of styling and
Yeah.
design, and it is going to be a really useful urban car, and they've
Yeah.
made no bones of the fact that it was always supposed to be an
Right.
urban-centric car. It was called the Urban EV, right?
Yeah.
And it should still be called the Urban EV, I think.
But it also is the first car. I mean, I went on about it, raved on about it on that video. But the first car that I sat in with wing mirror cameras
Yeah.
that were better than mirrors. You know,
Yes.
it wasn't like, oh, I see, though they do work.
Yeah.
You know, they're nearly as good as mirrors.
Yeah.
No, they actually definitely better.
Yeah.
I was more aware of what was behind me with those than I would ever be with mirrors, and that was genius bit of design. I mean, the
Yeah.
interior of it, I loved it because it was simple but
The interior is cool.
packed with stuff.
With all these screens that
Yeah.
you can swipe
Yeah.
across. And I actually sat in it at the show
Right.
and spent about 10 minutes experimenting with the screens and the
Right.
options. And one of the engineers showed me, and I didn't know that this existed, you can unlock it with your phone on the B pillar, so because it's got frameless
Right.
doors next to on the B pillar between the front and back doors, and then you get in and you hold that little thing as a sensor, that black one there,
Right.
and you hold your phone over that, and it just
starts up.
it
Wow.
comes and it knows who you are.
Right.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. 136 miles, £26,100. The order book's already opened.
I mean, they've got orders, I think.
They have got orders. They've got hundreds in UK alone.
Right.
So
it's
yeah,
it's a great looking car. No, I mean, I hope it's popular.
I want to see it on the road.
Yeah.
I want to see it on the road in the real world. I mean, it will just look so.
I also want to see it
Japanesey.
I want to see it charging in heavy rain. I know they've worked it out, but it is the fact that you're putting the charger into what is effectively a plastic bucket that's really, facing upwards.
Yeah, that's just open.
It's just open, isn't it?
It's just a funnel.
I mean, clearly it will drain out, but you just sort of think, surely that is.
That's the only bit of design I don't like, and the range is the only bit that I think, it would have been nice to have had a. Because that's the same range as my e-Golf right now.
Yes.
Basically, so if I get rid of the e-Golf and got that,
I'm
not going up in. I'll go up in style, but I won't go up in.
Yeah. And actually, you do drive long ways in your e-Golf.
Well, I'm driving home from your house tonight, and it's going to be 100 odd miles.
Yeah.
So
I really want to have one now to try and get more than 136 or something.
My hope is that Honda are being really conservative about range. They've already put it up for sale for less money than we thought. Everyone thought it was going to be about just over 30 grand.
Yeah.
So it's already about 4 or 5 grand cheaper than we thought. Let's just hope that the range just happens to be a bit better than they're saying, and they're just being super careful.
I mean, from a marketing point of view, if you can sell them, and you say it's 136 miles, and then people start posting and taking pictures. I just did 153, on one charge, and then for them it's brilliant.
Yeah.
They go, oh well.
Well, look, Honda. If anyone needs to test these things in the real world, we're fully charged are, and we are fans of this machine. Onto a machine that I'm not a massive fan of. This is a real car that's in I'd say 90% of it's going to go into production.
Right.
It's not electric, but the reason why I'm putting this up here is because BMW's styling has just gone down.
Wait a minute, that's a Beamer. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you remember those lovely neat kidney-shaped grills?
It's just gone.
It's all gone very crazy. Apparently, certain markets in the world like it. The BMW X7, the huge SUV, had them, and now the whole range is getting these ridiculous nostrils.
Wow.
And the reason why I was so shocked at it and disgusted with it, frankly, is because the most tasteful BMWs are the electric ones. The i3 and the i8. They're kind of out there.
Yeah.
They are a bit out there and a bit wild, but they're tasteful and interesting.
Right.
The rest of the range just seems to have gone off a cliff.
Right. Wow.
What are you doing? BMW, what are you doing? What's going on? The i3s.
Jonny wants to know what you're doing, BMW, and I think you need to answer him.
Well, just a bit scared. So we'll move on to something else in the BMW group that you know about. If you haven't already seen the video, there are links on this.
We've done one very recently.
Yeah, we've done one. And the same for the Honda E, so have a look at the relevant links. But yeah, this was there.
So that was there and officially launched in its full finished production.
It was as I saw it in the fully charged previous video, and I couldn't find a picture of it, but there was one that was just black with the sort of delete option yellow bits, because the yellow bits are
right. You can choose
denote
to have
the
them.
EV-ness, and it did probably look better,
right.
Kind of dumbed down with just one yellow logo,
right.
which was the E, and they were doing shuttle runs on the outside of the Frankfurt show in these. Ferrying people around. So a couple went past me.
Right.
And as you probably know, it's got i3 running gear.
Yeah.
I personally would rather own an i3, but a lot of people, I think that will sell way more than the i3 because it's familiar. The Mini is the brand.
And what's the price they've released on that is lower than the Honda, isn't it? 24?
Yeah,
somewhere around 24?
Yeah, I think it is. And it's cheaper than the equivalent piston Cupra S.
Wow.
They've priced it below the same spec, same performance,
petrol car,
combustion car.
Right. If you buy this, if this was your first electric car, you're actually buying a machine that's got very tried and tested
proven
components,
and it will be completely made in England.
Yeah.
So if you care about that stuff,
by
the time you watch this video, anything could have happened.
Yes.
In terms of British politics, I don't even want to think about it. So let's think of a happier place.
Let's go to a happy place.
Where is that happy place?
Well, hello. Porsche Taycan plugged into an Ionity charger.
Yeah, well, we saw both of these actually. I mean, I didn't see. I walked past a line of Ionity chargers outside. They were doing demonstrations of rapid charging. We'll talk about this bad boy in a minute. But the charger, yeah. So Ionity, a joint venture of BMW Group, Daimler, Ford, Volkswagen Group. I think Hyundai have put their name in the hat recently. So lots of...
It's what they've got to do. They've got to do it.
Yeah, they've welcomed an additional shareholder, Hyundai, to the board. So this joint venture's mission is to make pan-European electromobility a reality. You say pan-European electromobility.
That's a good one. Pan-European electromobility. See, I can only do it if I put on a silly voice. If I do it in my own voice, I can't do it. Pan-planum-landum-electromobility.
Yeah, and they were very proud about these because rolling out the Ionity network could make a huge difference to not just European but the UK. I think acceptance outside of the world of Tesla. Outside of the ownership of Tesla. And I mean,
that's the thing about it is they're going to make it so that anyone can use that. You know, any vehicle can use it. I'm assuming you don't have to have a Hyundai or a Porsche or a BMW or something.
I mean, you've said this a lot on Fully Charged, and it makes sense when you really digest it. You go, if I had an electric car that could only do 150 miles, but it could fast charge at 200, 300 kilowatts, which is
you need to stop
a
it
5, 10, 15-minute squirt here and there.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it does feel more like a fuel car, maybe in terms of... It's like a thirsty fuel car with a small fuel tank, right?
Yeah.
I've got friends with performance cars that will only do 150 miles.
Exactly.
So you just...
Also, I mean, it is that thing that I have to keep remembering that, if I was to sit here in this position for 5 hours...
You get bed sores.
Non-stop. Well, it's not good for you.
No, it's not.
You should get up. Normally, you would get up and stretch. Well, that's driving 200 miles in a 250 miles in a car non-stop.
Yeah.
You're sitting in one position, concentrating. Yeah. It's really you've got to stop.
They've got these little halo lights on the top. These are 2.6 meters tall. These Ionity units. So they're acting like a beacon on the highways at night, making it easier for drivers to find stations of forecourts because it is a problem.
Yeah.
Even if you've got the right app.
Yeah, to actually find
there is one in this leisure centre, I just can't find where it is. The light ring communicates the charger's availability depending on the colour, as well as providing a well-lit area helpful for drivers charging their cars in the hours of darkness. A forward-looking product design with innovative light solutions, blah, 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 350 kilowatt capacity.
Right, so they can, the plan is they can deliver that.
That's what they're saying, yeah.
Right, very good. I've just sort of worked out how that cable's coming out of the top of the box.
So you can walk kind of all the way around, so it can go...
a real long reach, which is really good, and it's up high rather than down low. I think it's so obvious now.
All we hope is that we see dozens and dozens and dozens of these. Okay, on to the next thing. You know this car now. If you haven't seen the video of a walk round of it, it's a previous video.
Nice.
It's the new Vauxhall Corsa. E-Corsa launched. It's going to be launched at the same time as the petrol and the diesels, and that was at the Frankfurt show. But what was more interesting was its Opel badged brother. They've put on sale the very first, world's first electric rally car that you can buy.
Oh wow!
From an OEM.
Oh my God!
The Corsa e-Motorsport, and you can buy it from Vauxhall, from Opel. It's available to order now. And it's £46,000.
Right.
And it's going to start in its own rally series in summer 2020, so next year.
But it's beefed up and got bash plates and all that.
Yeah, roll cage, Torsen differential, hydraulic handbrake, underbody protection, race suspension, race wheels. They think there'll be 15 cars on the initial opening e-rally. But I think it's really cool because it's like you can buy the road car. The road car, by the way, is £26,400, including the government grant. Right. With the first 500 customers getting free home charging kit.
Right.
They've probably already had those customers. I don't know. Yeah. You can ask your local Vauxhall person. Yeah. You can just buy a fully prepped competition rally car.
It's amazing, isn't it?
For 46 grand, which in rally sport terms, that's cheap.
And does it seem like it's beefed up in terms of performance? Is it going to be?
In terms of performance, actually, I think that it's about 130 kilowatts of power, so it's not like rip snorting. But I think what they're doing is they want to set the grid up to be quite evenly matched to start with, and I reckon then they'll probably start
beefing them up, or people will start toying around with it.
Yeah, very cool. Next car is the Cupra. Who knows about what a Cupra is?
What is the Cupra? I thought I knew all of them. I don't know what the Cupra is.
This is Cupra is Seat's performance new sub-brand.
Wow.
Because Seat aren't happy just calling their cars Seat anymore. they want to choose what I think to be a really awful badge because it looks like a really superhero.
Well, it does. It looks like I am Foxman.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you imagine if you had that.
Except he's not quite like, he's slightly frailer built. He goes, I am Foxman.
Well,
he's got a little fox tail.
Yeah. Imagine me in a body stocking with that on my torso. Yes, I know. Yeah. So this was the car.
This is like Lexus with Nissan, or sort of that kind of, it's their prestige brand.
It's more performance aggression orientated, but that car there is actually a plug-in hybrid. The Formentor is a 242 brake horsepower PHEV plug-in SUV, which can go electric for 30 miles. Right. That was released at Geneva. Right. Earlier in the year. This is the one that was at the show, and this is called the Tavascan, which sounds a little bit like an indigestion treatment. Yeah. I don't know, but it's a concept fully electric SUV that's very, very slippery in shape and very sort of aero.
I like the look of it.
Yeah, and 0 to 62 in 6.5 seconds, 280 mile WLTP. Right. I think what they're saying is they're going to start making high performance kind of sporty SUVs, less off-road, more on-road, but this is their design language that they're going for. And actually, I do quite like the front end. You know, it's got some nice shapes to it, but that is the Tavascan.
The Tavascan.
There it is. Look, it's quite a cool looking thing. Yeah. I have to say. And SUVs, look, I'm not massively into them, as I've said before, but they are the world's most popular segment of vehicle. Yeah. And the interiors, again, going for this sort of fairly simple, buttonless architecture with mostly screens. Yeah. I can't get my head around the logo, but
you get used to it.
You'll get used to it. Yeah. But there's another thing that Cupra did, or have already done, and there was a bit more detail on that.
Oh my God!
Which hasn't really been,
I've not seen anything of that.
Not been very well publicised, and it's been out now for about a year.
But is that electric?
That is the e-Racer. Wow. That is a completely electric.
Maybe I have heard something.
It's an electric touring car.
Wow.
Now, it's a world's first electric touring car. It's been around since the Geneva show last year, 2018, but it's going to have its race debut in 2020. Right. So I hadn't seen it in the metal until this event, and I had a good look round it, and it is a phenomenal, honestly. Wow. You almost don't care what it's powered by. It looks incredible. So the electric touring car racing series is a category. It's going to start next year, and other brands are being encouraged to join it. So we might see, and I hope we'll see a grid full of e-cars. Now, I know Jag have sort of done it with the e-trophy. I don't know how seriously that's being taken. I haven't seen much of it. I don't know what you viewers have.
I mean, I saw it in Paris. I saw a race with like 10 I-Paces, but it was kind of, it's that weird thing where they're all exactly the same, you know. So I mean, it's very much down to the driver because the cars are identical. So you know, it's very much the driver's thing.
And they're big cars.
And they did thump into each other a bit, and there was a bit of extra plastic lying on the track.
Well, this is 680 horsepower, up to 500.
And it looks like quite a small car. I mean, it's
it's golf size. Yeah, and it's really, really beautiful. 500 kilowatts peak power that can be maintained for 10 seconds. The engines reach 12,000 RPM. It's a 65 kilowatt hour battery pack. Wow. So it's 400 kilos heavier than what is the equivalent touring car. But of course, it has much more power than a conventional touring car, and the centre of gravity is different. So 0 to 124 miles an hour in 8.2 seconds, 0 to 62 in 3. Right,
so it's very fast.
Yeah. And the SEAT Vice President for R&D, Dr. Matthias Rabe, said, we're committed to the electric touring car racing series because we're convinced the future of competition is in electric engines. Just as the Seat Leon Cup racer laid the technical foundations of the TCR Championship, once again we are blazing trails in this new experience. Wow. So for this reason, they encourage the rest of the car manufacturing world to join us in our amazing adventure.
Wow, and that's him.
Yeah, but that car, I mean, seriously, look that car up. It is a really, really, I had a really good note. The inside is incredible as well. But that was Cupra. Right. The artist also known as Seat. Yes. And there was also a Seat Me. Now, I haven't brought up pictures of the Seat Me. I've got pictures of the same car, badged as a Volkswagen, and it's the E-Up. Right. The E-Up's been around for a long time, as you know.
Drove that a long time ago, test drove that. I loved it. Brilliant little car.
And the Up is a great car. And we kind of thought the Up was coming to the end of its life, but what VW have said is, actually, The Seat Me electric is now coming out.
Right.
Which is the same car.
Right.
The Skoda Citigo EIV, which is the same car,
right.
but electric. They're all coming out, and this is getting the battery pack, I believe, from the e-Golf.
Right.
So it's going to have way more of a usable range.
Yeah.
A range in that car of apparently 162 miles.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
It's going on sale in January 2020.
Wow.
23 grand with
Wow.
the Gov grant from the UK. And
that is for me at the moment. That's the news.
Well,
I mean, that is a much cheaper,
yeah.
very small electric car.
Good quality.
Really good
Proven.
quality, and got a really decent range. I mean, anything over 150 miles, I think for me that's the kind of What's it, less than 150 miles? More anything around it. If you can get a realistic 150 miles an hour, I know from experience that is actually enough. You can do all the driving you need.
Well, I get nearly 100. In real world, I get nearly 140 from the e-Golf.
Right.
So the same battery pack in a slimmer, lighter, smaller car. So it's gone up from the original e-Up, had an 18.7 kilowatt hour battery pack.
Really small. Yeah.
This will have a 32.3 kilowatt hour battery pack, so a big jump, and it can charge up to 50 kilowatts rapid charge. There it is. Look, that lady, she's totally into charging it.
Yeah, really got that.
You've got that. She's got that. Like, I'm DC rapid charging this if it kills me. Look, hasn't she? And some very nice fitting trousers.
Because that's the important thing to point out to people who don't drive electric cars is while it's charging, you've got to stand and hold that all the time.
Just like a petrol pump.
Otherwise you'll spill electrons.
It's just the same. It's exactly the same. But I mean, she might not know that you can 50 kilowatt rapid charge in half an hour, 80%.
Yeah. So you've only got to stand there for half an hour.
Only got to stand. It's 81 horsepower, 0 to 62 in 11.9. And of course, the thing about these ups is they're a cost-saving car because they don't have a great deal of technology in them.
Yeah.
You can just integrate your smartphone.
Yeah.
They've got Apple CarPlay connectivity and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not a great deal there. And they drive really well. So well done, Volkswagen.
Yeah.
It's the only electric Volkswagen that's not going to be branded ID.
Right.
We don't know if it's going to eventually, but they're saying it's not.
Right.
So also at the Frankfurt show, which is probably,
It was the one I was kind of most interested in.
Which you've driven.
It does look nice.
We have done a video on this. He drove it in South Africa.
In South Africa, it was great.
Yes.
Was that great little car?
And have a look at that video if you want to know more information. There were 12 of these on display.
They were so tight when I drove it, so I basically... That's the first time I've seen it, even though I've got in one and driven it.
Yeah,
you couldn't tell it was so heavily camouflaged. But it looks so good. I mean, I've seen lots of pictures of this.
It's weird. From certain angles, it looks like a facelifted Golf.
Yeah.
And from the rear, it does. From the front, it's very different. Very short bonnet, very kind of huge
lot of screen
laid
and
back
room inside.
Yeah. But there were 12 on display of different colours, different kind of specs. The price is confirmed for 26 grand.
Right.
It is the size of the Golf externally, the interior of a Passat. Internal.
So bigger.
Externally Golf, internally Passat.
Wow.
45, 58, 77 kilowatt hour battery pack.
God, you can get a 77 kilowatt hour pack in it.
Yeah. 110 kilowatt of output or 150 kilowatts of performance, which translates to 148 horsepower or 201, both producing 229 pounds-feet, 0 to 62 in 7 seconds. But the great bit is the range up to 342 miles. So the top spec car, top spec car will be a performance of a Golf GTI, 342 mile range, a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack. And there will be twin motor all-wheel drive versions coming later, which I'm sure will be Golf R equivalent.
Yes, yeah.
VW says, the entry-level car, 205 miles, 261 miles, or 342.
Wow.
These are WLTP.
I don't want to say anything, but the initial response is this is what they should be like. All electric cars should be like that with those range choices.
Yeah.
So the lowest range is over 200 miles.
It's 201.
So in a realistic, let's say realistic
180,
on the road,
190?
180, 190, which is way above what you really, that is hyper adequate.
Yeah.
And then if you're really posh, you can have one that goes over, because the over 300 is like, it's raining, it's cold, it's in the winter, I've got some hills. You will still get 300 miles out of that car. That is when you've got that much buffer.
Yeah.
And in the summer, you'll get 350.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is amazing. It's much better than I expected.
All ID.3s will have at least 100 kilowatts of charging capacity, which means 161 miles in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we witnessed that test for test when we were in the Netherlands with the I-Pace that charged 100 kilowatts and the Kona at 50, and it's twice as fast.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know how they worked that out.
How does he know this
It's got
stuff?
something to do with maths.
You're like the Rachel Riley of Fully Charged.
God, poor Rachel. Very offensive.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's the interior. See, I saw. That I didn't. I couldn't see any of that.
It's very open.
Yeah, there's nothing in it.
I mean, and they're going to be making this in a factory that already exists in Zwickau.
Yeah.
Which makes piston Volkswagens at the same time, but it's going to be dedicated ID
production line
only.
Yeah.
I think Trabants were originally made in Zwickau. How weird that such an antiquated, weird car and now such a future-thinking car. But yeah, once in full production, an ID.3 will roll off that production line every 1.5 minutes, 1.5 minutes. They've invested 880 million in that factory with 1,600 robots.
Wow.
Basically what Volkswagen are saying, I'm going to read this, they claim they'll be producing 15 million vehicles based upon ID hardware by 2028. The brand is willing to become the number one brand globally by 2025 with more than 50 electric models based upon the MEB platform.
Wow.
More than 1 million vehicles sold annually, all of which being both networked and emission free.
Wow.
I mean, basically, Dieselgate has created all of this.
Yeah. It is, isn't it?
It has.
And also, it's that thing where the kind of shift that we're seeing, you could say Tesla was the accelerating first gear. Yeah. And this feels like, this is like you're climbing up the hill, you can get going now, and you're into second. Because there's this whole other thing. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not comparing them with Teslas at all. It's irrelevant. They're not comparable in any way.
They're complementary.
But it's a massive company with enormous amounts of production experience that can churn out cars one a minute. That kind that kind of thing. And I predict these will get cheaper as well. In 5 years' time, they'll they won't be massively expensive because they'll just have that economies of scale. They can undercut other people who are coming into the market. I mean, that is an extraordinary, and the fact that I absolutely didn't know. I was guessing that they'd be between 30 and 50 kilowatt hours, the batteries, because they wouldn't tell me when I test drove that one. Yeah. The fact that you can get a 77 kilowatt hour battery
in a Golf-sized car.
In a Golf-sized car, that's the same battery that's in my Model 3, Tesla Model 3, which really does do around. You can get up to 300 miles this time of year in the summer. Yeah. You won't be able to in the winter. So if that's insane.
I know.
I didn't think I wanted one.
Yeah,
I want the four-wheel drive.
Yeah, I mean...
Because I had so many Golfs, it's kind of, I feel...
It really is. I feel like this is an important car to them. They're confident they can press the button on 50,000 of them straight away, a year. Wow. In terms of production, churning.
I tell you what I think, Jonny, this is the really important thing, is that, there's been, in the last 5 years, 1,000 headlines going, is this the Tesla killer, or this is the Tesla... And what they've done is just bypass that. No one's going to say... the VW ID.3 is a Tesla killer because it's a totally different car. It's built for the European market more. Yeah. It's a smaller car. Yeah. It's got the same range as a Tesla, which it can do, or in fact more. And it is built for that market, it's irrelevant. The Tesla is irrelevant. Yeah. Is this car the Tesla ignorer? Yes, possibly. It doesn't matter, does it?
You heard it here first. The Tesla ignorer.
The Tesla ignorer. It's going.
But also, who wants to kill Tesla? I don't want to kill Tesla.
It's ridiculous. They haven't tried to make a big sedan that competes with the Model S or some pointless. Which a lot of, in a way, all the big SUVs are a sort of direct attempt to get at that market. Yeah. Yeah. The sort of premium electric market. This isn't even bothering with that. This is making a car that is, in some ways, probably a quarter the price of a mid, a high-end Model S. Yeah. Half the price, getting on for half the price of a Model 3. Yeah. And that's the thing.
It will be pretty solid. And,
even that one I drove, which was still, there was a lot of tape and stuff hanging onto it. And everything was covered up. I couldn't see it. But when you shut the door, you go, oh, that's a proper car. Yeah. And you drive it and it's just solid. And there was, even in that car, not a rattle, not a wobble, not a blah, 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 nothing. It was just... they've been making that stuff for decades. They know how to do it, and it was really good. I love driving it.
The image, even after looking at it for an hour at the show, it's sort of, I've already accepted. It's like a Golf. Yeah, it's a spiritual successor to the e-Golf. Certainly, the Golf will still exist, by the way. It's that, but the Golf will only be available in piston form. This will be
right.
This will be.
So they're not going to carry on making e-Golfs, or
no? I think
will they do plug-in hybrids still? Do you think?
Yeah, well, they've released
in
a
a
few.
way. They kind of. I mean, I'd be happy if they didn't.
Yeah,
they don't need to.
There was a Passat GTE plug-in. I think what they'll do is the e-Golf will quietly die.
Yeah.
Because this is the next e-Golf.
Yeah.
Purely and simply. And there's even another product that the Volkswagen Group have got into. In fact, there's several more. This very grainy picture. My fault. I couldn't find a high res one, and I couldn't take any photos of it because I couldn't find it at the show because the show's massive.
Yeah.
This is a company, a German company called E-Classic. Volkswagen released a press statement the week before Frankfurt saying that they've bought into this company.
Wow.
So that an OEM, Volkswagen, will be able to convert their old cars for people into EVs.
Wow.
So this Beetle has a flip-up rear
look at
light.
that, where the light goes up.
Yeah, and it uses the drivetrain of the outgoing, I believe, E-Up.
Right.
So so it will have 81 horsepower, 93 mile an hour top speed, 124 mile range. So any air-cooled Beetle camper van, and they're also starting to talk about early Porsches.
Wow.
You can order them, a conversion of them, through Volkswagen, effectively.
So it's proper sort of Volkswagen.
Yeah, there it is. The E-Käfer, the Käfer's German for Beetle, for those who didn't know that.
E-Käfer now.
Yeah, the weight has gone up, obviously because of the electric power. But obviously we know lots of people that are converting these sorts of cars.
Yeah.
And VW have cleverly gone, we want a piece of that action.
Right.
Early on, let's invest.
Yeah.
On to another car
that
we have done a video on. And there it is in its finished form.
It is interesting, isn't it? It looks so much better. It just looks better than the one, the one you drove, you couldn't see.
It was very heavily, it had fake stickers on the headlights. So we did the video of this. If you haven't seen it, there's a link on the screen. I got to drive it. I'm very thankful that I did. But it was all disguised. It's now got its lovely, I think they're gecko eyes.
Yeah.
With these sort of little bits of eye makeup. I think when you park it next to a Panamera, which I did do, but I wasn't allowed to photograph, it's a much, much more sleek, less bulbous car than a Panamera. It is like a four-door 911. Even the back end looks like the current 911, actually. So the Taycan is finished, done, the order books are open. They are called Turbo and Turbo S, which is silly because electric cars don't have turbos. We know that. It's just daft. But there it is, and they're very proud of it. Obviously, 800 volts, top ranking cars, 760 horsepower.
Right.
2.8 to 62 consistently.
Right.
Yeah, I think prices for the top whack car, which is the one I drove, which is the Turbo S, is about 135 grand.
Oh, is it?
That's the highest. That's the highest ranking.
Right. That's slightly less than I thought it was going. I thought it was going to be more than that. No, I mean, it sounds like a lot more in dollars. I can't remember what it is in dollars. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's not a cheap car.
The one thing I didn't get to do, apart from we couldn't show the interior, the finished interior, is I sat in the back of it at the show. Because lots of people were going, lots of Tesla worshippers, admittedly, were going, it's a four-seater, but you can't fit real adults in the back of that. It's a sports car. Well, I got in the back, and I'm 6'3". I adjusted the front seat to me to drive, then climbed behind me.
Right.
And it was fine.
Right.
Good headroom. I put a little video online, and good knee room. So, and competition time.
Oh.
Hang on.
What, are we giving away? Surely we're not giving away a Porsche Taycan.
That's right. That's right, clickbaiters. We're giving away a free Porsche Taycan right now.
Absolutely free. And is it electric? Is it electric?
It's electric, and here it is. It's a Playmobil Mission E, the artist formerly known as the Taycan, because the Playmobil movie came out quite recently, and Porsche have endorsed the product, and we contacted them, and
look at that.
And so I'm going to get.
Actually, it's really beautiful.
I've brought the box with me because it's just I like boxes. Here's the remote, so it is radio controlled. There's the charging point.
There's the charger.
It's not real, that one, just so you know, but it does have a charging port.
Wow.
Where is it? The charging port comes out of the door. Can you see it there?
Oh, right.
And kids can.
So
my kids have already. You have to sort of build it. You have to assemble it.
Oh, see, it doesn't come ready-made.
No, it comes. It comes in bits. To the lights.
Oh, there we go.
And it should steer and stuff. And
it's very smooth. It doesn't have a jerky. You can really gently pull it forward.
No. So we are giving away 3 of these Playmobil Porsche Taycan Missionese. Okay? All right. Oh, don't drive off the table, Bobby. Don't
sorry. Put a bit of a dent in that.
Yeah, a bit of panel damage already. We're going to give away 3 of these.
Well, that's amazing.
Thanks to Playmobil, and they're great for adults and also young people.
You can let the kids. I'd let the kids look at it.
We're only going to hold the competition for 48 hours after this video goes live, because otherwise we get inundated.
Yeah, we do get a lot of people trying
if you could send an email to operations@fullychargedshow.co.uk. And in the title, could you please put Playmobil Porsche?
Oh yeah, that would help.
Playmobil Porsche.
Or something along those lines.
And put your name, your contact details and everything in there. So if you'd like one, we've got 3 to give away. Thank you very much to Playmobil.
Yeah, that is.
That one's coming home with me.
We've got one in the office. Thank you, Playmobil.
And then
next car.
Mercedes.
Oh.
EQS. Basically, yes, it's a concept car.
But this is a brother/sister of the EQC then?
Yes.
100% electric?
100% electric.
Right.
It is, the S stands for S-Class.
Right.
So think of this as the next generation S-Class, which is the flagship big saloon. And it's going to be pure electric, Mercedes is saying. Jaguar have said that their next generation XJ will be electric. Audi's next generation A8 will be an e-tron.
Right.
So this is the first car actually in the EQ range to use the bespoke skateboard platform.
Right.
Because the EQC uses, I think, existing architecture.
Some existing
from a combustion.
I
car.
can't remember which one, but one of those Mercedes. But and you saw it there though. It was there.
It was actually there. I have to say, it's quite a sleek looking thing. I mean, there's a lot of conceptiness going on here.
Yeah.
But
not a lot of door handles.
Not a lot of door handles. There's the interior is a work of art. It uses a battery pack made in-house from Daimler's Accumotive subsidiary. Right. 100 kilowatt hours. Total output from the motors on the front and rear axles that are all-wheel drive, 469 brake horse, 561 pounds-feet. They claim the EQS is capable of 0 to 62 in sub 4.5 seconds. Range 435 miles.
Wow.
350 charging kilowatt output.
Wow.
Considerably less than 20 minutes to 0 to 80%. These figures will be expected from the car, which is due on sale in 2022.
Oh, I see. So
kind of water that down a bit.
Give it some handling.
This is quite cool though. The illuminating.
Yeah, no, I quite like that. Yeah.
And the inside is styled around yachts.
Wow.
It's supposed to look like the deck of a yacht, and this is like a sort of floating giant iPad thing.
Wow.
I mean,
because that does remind me of my yacht. Well, you've been on my yacht many times.
That reminds me of my Austin Allegro, actually. It's no bad thing, as anyone who's into classic cars knows.
One day someone's going to do a concept, like really crazy concept vehicle, you get and you go, because it'll have a round steering wheel.
It will.
They're always square.
They are always. And that's the thing. And then they go, actually just make it circular. Yeah. So that is the EQS. Right. Yeah, so that will come to fruition, and it's going to sit alongside the EQA hatch, the EQB, the EQC, which you've driven.
I see. Right.
The EQE and the EQG, which is the 4x4.
Right.
A lot of EQs coming, which EQ is Mercedes' electric sub-brand.
Because I've got to say, just very briefly, that I think that was the best built electric car I've ever been in, the EQC. It was just exquisite. It was just amazing. It just like the quality of the build was, and I don't have the finesse and knowledge of it as you do, but even I could tell the materials,
it felt extra.
The solidity of it, the control of it, the driving was just. Yeah. Even I could be a good driver in it. Let me.
Well, that's what Merc are kind of saying. I mean, Merc are a very old manufacturer. Yeah. They're one of the first. They are the first.
They are the first.
They are the first.
They should be good.
Yeah, they are the first.
So yes, I've heard a lot about this.
Byton.
Yeah.
Probably the most enthusiastic car brand around at the moment.
Yeah.
Chinese. And I, unfortunately, and I have to apologise to Byton, I was hoping to come and see you at the show. I couldn't get to you on time. I was only there for a day, and I was worn out.
Right. So you didn't actually see it, but we know it's there, and we're in touch with.
I saw across the room. I saw it, and there was tons of people.
I bet. Yeah.
Tons of people around.
No, it's a really interesting car. There's a lot of interest in that.
It's an electric SUV with a 48-inch horizontal screen dash. It looks
like it takes up the whole windscreen in that.
Yeah, with like with like
oh my god, a touchscreen on the steering wheel.
A half screen steering wheel setup.
Wow.
It's got some. I think it's got some very, very cool design features. It's going to go on sale in Europe. They plan to in 2021.
Right.
It's an electric SUV, as I've said. It's kind of China's answer, maybe, to the Tesla Model Y.
Right.
Allegedly. It's going to come in right-hand drive, they're saying. It's been in development for 2 years now. It's launching first in China, where it's made. It's planned to go on sale for around 40 grand.
So it's kind of Model 3 territory.
It is Model 3. Yeah. The production car was on display, and they've described that as 100% finished.
Right.
With its 48-inch curved shared experience display. Loving. Do you like a shared experience display?
I like a shared experience display.
Yeah. Do you know what that would involve?
I don't want to keep it all for myself.
No. I'm with you on that. A digital lounge feel. Yeah, so there you go. The interior especially it really turns me on. Yeah, 72 kilowatt hour entry level battery pack driven by a single rear mounted motor. See, the exciting world of electric cars means that a lot of cars are now rear wheel drive again.
Yeah.
Even small ones.
Yes.
There's a lot of driving enthusiasts who go, the death of rear wheel drive. Actually, EVs are bringing it back.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Celebrate that.
Yes. Please celebrate that.
Please.
Put out the bunting.
Celebrate, yes. What else? There's a couple more things we can talk about this car. Yeah, produces 268 horsepower, capable of 360 miles on the WLTP test cycle. There's an optional larger capacity battery, up to 460 miles. So serious range we're talking.
Wow.
And there'll be
they're also, it's that thing where, to sort out the startup companies that have got an amazing concept but probably not quite enough money to really go. They've got, that's a huge company behind them. They've got a factory that makes cars.
They claim they've already had 50,000 reservations worldwide.
Wow.
And they've already subjected the M-Byte to a number of test procedures, including stringent crash tests in the US and in the EU.
Right.
We could see this car coming quicker than you could say Byton M-Byte.
So I'm very glad that you went, which is another way of saying I'm quite glad I wasn't there. Much as it is amazing, because it's so vast, it's just so overwhelming. You
have to do, for a motor show that centres around, obviously, vehicles, it's just ironic you do more walking in 24 hours than you've ever done in your life. But
it is backbreaking stuff. But that is great, Jonny. Thanks so much for all that stuff, because that is fascinating and really exciting, and the competition is wonderful.
I hope you've enjoyed the cars.
Yeah.
Enter the competition, as we've said, if that's the sort of thing that you're into, and if you haven't,
you're going to flash the lights.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do in a really slick way.
Sorry.
By like going, it's too many buttons. Look. Yeah. Oh. Does the back end work? Yeah, the back end work.
Oh, look at that! Now that is worth. If you were thinking, I can't be bothered to enter it. Look at those back end lights. You'll be in there. Quick, send the email.
Yeah.
A couple of things I want to say, because we've got an amazing episode about Lucid coming up. We've also got one about Rivian.
Yeah.
We've got some very special and exciting news about that, but we'll let you know that soon. Nuclear fusion, not fission.
Not fission.
It's kind of difficult, isn't it? Nuclear fusion. Brilliant, with Helen Chesky. Amazing episode. Hardcore science, brilliant, really good stuff though. And I understood for a couple of seconds watching it what fusion is, and that is a brilliant achievement. I can't tell you now because it's straight out as well, but I did get it. She was really good. That was great, and loads of other stuff coming up. So it's all good. I reckon that's it, isn't it, John? You can wind it up there. So do the subscribe thing, do the Patreon. Thank you thing.
Yes,
major league. Thank you.
Thank you for liking it if you do, and also many thanks for supporting us, like you have as a Patreon or as a commenter.
Yeah,
there are a lot of comments.
Oh, there's a lot of comments. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I do try and answer them. I try and each episode when it comes out, I try and do some answering, and then there's a bit of a deluge. It's a bit difficult to find the time to do it because we're all busy editing the next episode.
We're trying hard to please you.
We are, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
We're like the sort of the one child in the family that was a bit ignored. We're really working hard to please Mum and Dad. It's a bit tragic.
Yeah, thanks, Mum and Dad.
Anyway, that's it. I suppose, as always, if you have been,
thank you for watching.